Kansas Daughters. As much as your state regent would prefer to see each of you in person, she is delighted to imagine each of you participating in this virtual state September meeting from the comfort and safety of your own homes. She would like to recognize the personal page to the state regent, Jillian Pence, and welcome home her beautiful baby girl, Charlotte Adele. While travel has been limited, the duties and activities of this state office have not slowed down. Following the cancellation of our annual conference this spring, she conducted an electronic meeting with the executive committee and continues to coordinate routinely with her fellow state officers via email, Zoom, and phone calls. Appreciation is expressed to the members of the KSDAR Executive Committee for going above and beyond during these unusual times to continue the efficient and responsible conduct of the business of the State Society on your behalf. In June, this state officer attended 2 electronic National Board of Management meetings. Hopping from Zoom to webinars to Facebook Live to YouTube, she enjoyed many luncheons, club meetings, business sessions, and evening ceremonies as part of the historic Continental Congress. In July, your state regent participated in an informational presentation of the proposed KSDAR bylaw amendments, including proposals to address the conduct of electronic business meetings during emergency situations. Our state bylaws committee, led by Laura Kaiser and assisted by our state parliamentarian, Lynn Patterson, spent countless hours researching and developing the proposal, an effort for which this officer is grateful. Following a decision by the KSDAR Executive Committee to cancel an in-person state September meeting, your state regent has been very busy recording presentations, preparing scripts, and coordinating the logistics for this virtual state September meeting. Appreciation is expressed to the state committee chairs, district directors, and state officer team for contributing and editing the nearly 70 parts and pieces that now comprise this virtual event. In August, your state regent traveled to Munden, Kansas to conduct and record a memorial service to honor the Kansas Daughters we lost this past year. Gratitude is offered to State Chaplain Retha Blecka for designing and sharing a beautiful and meaningful service recorded in her hometown church. The State September meeting has always been one of this officer's favorite KSDAR events, and while we cannot enjoy each other's company in person, she hopes you will still enjoy the many workshops, presentations, and activities, and that our Kansas Daughters continue to benefit from this information and recordings in the months that follow. No one could have anticipated such a conclusion to the first year of this administration, but as our 125-year history of natural disasters, war, and even other health epidemics demonstrate, Kansas Daughters are quick to adapt and identify ways to be of service to their communities and the nation. Your state regent is proud of every effort made to adjust schedules, embrace new technologies, and identify creative ways to practice hospitality while protecting the health of our members. Kansas Daughters, your state regent looks forward to continuing to work with you as we welcome each other into the work and fellowship of this society and practice hospitality in our communities. I will now introduce Rebecca Klein, and as she shares a report of the State Vice Regent.
Thank you, Madam State Regent. Since the cancellation of the physical September meeting, the State Vice Regent has engaged in assisting with the execution of plans for the virtual state meeting in cooperation with our most capable, technical, savvy State Regent, Susan Metzger. She kicked off the master plan beginning the first week of August in the development and posting of nearly 80 presentations and events. PowerPoint presentations from state chairs and state officers were developed to post the scheduled online committee fare and workshops. This virtual feat has been accomplished with the collaboration and skills of many members in 4 short weeks for editing and production beginning September 10th through the 12th. With the assistance of all 4 district directors, the highly anticipated presentation for celebrating our chapter regents who served 2019 to 20 is planned. Also, outstanding chapters and chapter regents will be honored during the meeting. Mrs. Klein compiled a virtual program booklet for the state meeting for online viewing, as well as serving as a presenter for the workshop. She continues to accumulate chapter chairs of national committee forms from the chapters to disperse to the state chairs and chapter yearbooks to share with state officers, district directors, and selected state chairs after the completion of the state meeting. It's been a pleasure this year and an extremely learning system for everything according with this state meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. We will now hear the report of the state chaplain, Mrs. Blecka.
Madam State Regent, during this unusual time in our nation's history, this officer has been diligent in performing her duties. It was an honor to work alongside national and state officers in preparing a virtual Kansas Chapel open house for the 129th Continental Congress, which is now viewable on the national website on the Chaplain General's page. This officer prepared the program for the first ever virtual KSDAR memorial service and designed a memorial program that was linked to the memorial service in order for members to print off and follow along or send to family members as a keepsake. This officer has attended all executive board meetings and has updated the 90+ birthday list. 90-year birthday wishes were sent to 70 Kansas daughters, and 24 cards of sympathy went to Kansas daughters as next of kin. Articles were sent to the Cyber Sunflower on 3 occasions, and Facebook notes of encouragement were posted along with sunshine cards sent to members. This officer has been in contact with her liaison committees of Flag of the United States of America, Children of the American Revolution, commemorative events, and junior membership in order to encourage their participation. It has been an honor for this officer to remain active on the 250 task force and represent Kansas as the South Central Division National Vice Chair of Membership. Our Kansas Chapel remains as beautiful and meditative as always, even though only 25% of the staff is allowed in the building during these unusual times to make use of the serenity it affords. However, was it not a thrill to see our President General preside over the National Memorial Service from our beautiful chapel at the closing of the first ever virtual Continental Congress? Additionally, is it not awe-inspiring to visit the Chaplain General's page on the national website and be able to view a virtual tour of the Kansas Chapel at your leisure? Much gratitude is extended to the national officers in allowing this to happen, and to our state officers for their help in procuring the slides, music, and video skills to make this experience unique and special. The memorial book will be updated as access to the building is allowed, and plans are still underway to devise a method to properly display and store the beautiful nativity. Guidelines for events in the Kansas Chapel, candle replacement, and new paint in the apps area are also items to be discussed in the future. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Retha. We will now hear the report of the State Recording Secretary, Mrs. Barrett.
This officer has continued to perform the duties of her office and very much appreciates the teamwork of the Executive Committee in moving forward through the necessary adjustments of this time in history. He has attended the virtual Executive and Finance Committee meetings and prepared the minutes, worked with an expanded list of liaison committees, and contacted Kansas members at large. Attending the virtual Continental Congress as a delegate was exciting and humbling. Participating in distanced events as well as virtual meetings has meant learning new technology and ways of communicating, as well as developing new skills. The support of the executive team in the final stages of preparing the annual report and proceedings has been invaluable and is very much appreciated. It has been a learning experience in many ways. She has appreciated the opportunity to support the greater community through mask making and working on quilts of valor.
Thank you, Peggy. Our corresponding secretary, Kimberly Lees, will file her report. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family during her continued recovery. We will now hear the report of our organizing secretary, Denise Bullock.
Good morning. Kansas Daughters have shown strong pioneer spirit through the unprecedented times of the 2020 pandemic. In an effort to provide support to Kansas chapters, This officer launched the Cheer a Chapter Regent project in April. All Kansas regents received a phone call or email from a state officer checking on the chapter's well-being to discuss concerns and successes and to offer support for whatever challenges they might be facing due to health concerns and meeting cancellations. In July, a similar program was launched entitled Welcome Home, Members at Large from Kansas, whereby each of the 51 members at large received a personal letter from Susan Metzger, State Regent, followed up by a phone call or email from the state officer team. Success stories were written from both programs. This officer continues to enjoy her relationship as executive liaison to Chapter Development and Revitalization, Dee Sadler, Chair, Membership, Melissa Stucklick, Chair, DAR Leadership Training, Jerry Kling, Members Course Coordinator, and Pam Kelly, New Horizons Course Coordinator. These ladies perform their responsibilities with enthusiasm and excellence. They are a strong resource for your chapter's growth. It is indeed an honor to represent the Kansas Society as National Chair of Congress Music. Considerable time was spent planning for the DAR All-American Chorus, communicating with musicians, and assigning responsibilities in preparation for the 129th Continental Congress. And as you know, that ended up as a virtual event due to the pandemic. This national chair looks forward to moving forward with those plans and more in 2021. Please continue to contact this officer through email or phone with any concerns or ideas you have for your chapter's continued health, growth, and impact in the community and the great state of Kansas. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. We will now hear the report of the State Treasurer, Janet Lake.
Thank you, Madam Regent. This officer continues to perform the regular duties of the office, processing receipts and disbursements. The Kansas state tax return was timely filed in May 2020. She enjoyed the virtual presentation of Continental Congress and was amazed at all the opportunities to participate. As chair of the Finance Committee, she has chaired a meeting and prepared a proposed budget for 2021. She participated in Zoom executive committee meetings. She continues to assist chapter treasurers via emails and phone calls. She has participated in numerous Zoom socials and has enjoyed visiting with members from across the state.
Thank you, Janet. We will now hear the report of the State Registrar, Lee Cox.
Madam State Regent, this State Registrar had the honor of working with many chapter registrars to complete applications and supplementals during the nationwide lockdown. Responding quickly to calls from chapter registrars and piecing together family lineage to document generation by generation has been the passion of this state officer. The state officer is proud to serve with the genealogy team to welcome home more new Kansas daughters. She is especially thankful for the work of Bunny Bowen with electronic applications, Linda Jensen's review to expedite the approval of supplementals for Kansas daughters, and Melissa Sturridge's leadership with the state application team. She praises the 14 chapter registrars who have completed GEP 6 and encourages all chapter registrars to take advantage of this free genealogy education program course. She generated monthly membership reports for state officers and various reports for chapter officers and state chairmen. This state officer created a recorded presentation about the new legacy membership designation for the virtual 2020 September state meeting. And in partnership with Chapter Development and Revitalization Chair, she's pleased to announce that genealogy workshops found so successful with in-person training in 17 chapters to date are already beginning to be scheduled for spring 2021. The August 5th, 2020 report indicates KSDAR membership count, including our members at large, at 3,050, with 244 of those being junior members and 188 new Kansas daughters since the beginning of the Metzger administration.
Thank you, Lee. Our state historian is also excused, and our thoughts and prayers are with her for her continued recovery. We will now hear the report from our state librarian, Susan Newman.
Madam State Regent, this officer participated in the virtual 129th Continental Congress and served as a delegate. She viewed the NSDAR book club sessions with Stephen Freed, author of Rush, and Catherine Carrison, author of Jefferson's Daughters. Information about the NSDAR book club has been disseminated to members by this officer. She attended the Historic Preservation Recognition Award presentation to the Friends of the Fresh Air Baby Camp in Wichita in June. The Wichita Advanced Learning Library has currently cataloged 6,393 items, all donated by KSDAR. Although the Wichita ALL continues limited access, this officer continues frequent communications with the staff. This officer has attended all executive meetings and supported various tasks of the Welcome Home team led by our state regent, Susan Metzger. The books selected for 2020-21 NSDAR Book Club are posted on the SIP page under State Librarian.
Thank you, Susan. We will now hear the report of our state reporter, Kimberly Patrick.
Good morning. This spring and summer has presented many challenges due to the pandemic, with the cancellation of meetings and the need to create alternative means to keep Kansas daughters connected. This officer has been busy producing the Cyber Sunflower, the Kansas DAR News, social media campaigns, advertisements for the Daughters newsletter, preparing the annual report and proceedings for print, and arranging for the virtual KSDAR State September meeting. In addition to my state activities, it was a pleasure to serve as National Vice Chair for Congress Communications during the first virtual Continental Congress in June. The old adage, "you can't teach an old dog new tricks," was proven false, as this position forced this officer to quickly learn many new software platforms, video editing, and numerous interfaces in order to help take Congress online. These new skills are proving to be extremely helpful for taking the KSDAR State September meeting virtual. To stay connected with DAR and KSDAR, please ensure that your email address is current on e-membership, as important announcements and the Cyber Sunflower distributed through this email. And join the KSDAR Facebook page to stay connected with other Kansas daughters and see what activities are taking place. Articles and announcements are greatly appreciated for the newsletters, as are content ideas. Those taking members and New Horizons are encouraged to submit items for the newsletters as part of these programs. Though we can't be together in person right now, know that your state officers are working to keep Kansas daughters informed and involved. Please be safe, stay healthy, and mark your calendars for April 22nd through 24th, 2021 for the KSDAR State Conference, where we will be celebrating 125 years of KSDAR.
Thank you, Kimberly. That concludes the reports of the state officers. I now invite our state parliamentarian, Lynn Patterson, to share an update. Ms. Patterson.
Madam State Regent, the state parliamentarian has been working with the KSDAR Bylaws Committee on proposed bylaw amendments to the KSDAR state bylaws. The committee has been diligently working since January to propose amendments to the bylaws that include the authority to hold virtual meetings in the case of emergency situations, along with other necessary changes. These will be presented to the members when we are able to again meet in person, hopefully next spring. She has also talked with regents and chapter members concerning bylaw amendments for their chapter and how to go about electing a nominating committee and electing new officers. The parliamentarian is available to help work through ideas for helping the state and chapter officers and members with the concerns they have, especially in this time of COVID-19.
Thank you, Lynn. Next, we will hear a report from our state treasurer as she outlines the spending that has occurred so far in 2020, as well as the proposed remaining budget for 2020 and the budget proposed for 2021. To help facilitate the discussion, we'll share some slides.
If you will follow along with me, I'll mention a few key points about the proposed 2020 and 2021 budget. You will see 6 columns of numbers. The first is the budgeted from 2019. The next is the actual from 2019. Then the next 2 columns are the proposed and budgeted for 2020, followed by the actual expenses so far this year. The last column reflects the proposed budget for 2021. We typically only show 2 years when we review the budget. Since we have not had the opportunity to meet in person for a year, we thought it might be helpful to show a longer history of expenses. The first section is about income. This section is a factor of the number of members in Kansas and an estimate of interest income. The January 1, 2020 count of Kansas daughters is 3,012. The balance of the budget represents expenses. The first expense section is titled Operating Expense, which includes expenses such as printing of the annual report and proceedings books, and the purchase of the address file from National, which includes the current mailing addresses for all Kansas daughters. The next section is for officer expenses. We budget for these expenses, although as you can see, they are rarely used. Under fixed expenses, you will note that we exceeded the budget for banking supplies by $118 in 2019. This was for the purchase of new checks. In 2020, we used $122 less than the budgeted amount. In 2021, we have budgeted more so that we can purchase enough to last through this administration, and prices are better with a larger quantity. The budget for the Golden West Tea will remain the same in 2021. Please note that with the cancellation of an in-person Continental Congress, New Mexico has asked to host the tea in 2021. This will bump each state's obligation to host by 1 year, so Kansas will not host until the next administration. If you drop down to other expenses, last year we purchased 3 years of outstanding junior pens and 1 year of an outstanding chapter regent pen. Procuring all the pens up front has been the practice for several administrations. With the reduced inventory from Hamilton Jewelers in the fall of last year, we were only able to purchase 1 outstanding regent pen. We have budgeted for the purchase of the 2 additional pens in 2021 from the DAR Insignia store. You will note the last line item under other expenses relates to the President General's gift. As with previous administrations during the year of the President General state visit, we have budgeted for a contribution to the President General's project. A one-time gift of $1,250 distinguishes the Kansas Society as a benefactor. With the cancellation of our KSDAR annual conference this past spring, the executive committee decided to move forward with this gift. The gift was paired with the contribution from the State Regents Project in the amount of $3,750 for a total of $5,000. This was the amount necessary to pledge support for the restoration of the Kansas box and the auditorium of Constitution Hall. In the standing rule expense section, please note the following unusual activities. In standing rule number 3, the state regent is authorized to be reimbursed up to $1,500 for successfully completing the DAR school tour. Unfortunately, due to her work obligations, she was unable to attend the tour, and therefore the expense was not incurred. Standing rule number 7 allows for funds to be budgeted for membership development workshops. The funds are used to offset the costs for presentation materials, a master workshop packet, room rental fee, as well as mileage and the cost of tolls for the workshop leader. At our Board of Management meeting in September 2019, you approved a budgeted overage of $500, which you can see was nearly met in the actual expenses for 2019. With many chapters in 2020, the State Registrar and Chapter Development and Revitalization Commission Chair have revised their workshop schedule. The recommended budget expense for 2021 is $500. This final slide is the actual and proposed budget, shows our bottom line. While we show a net loss for 2020, this is only because we are partially into the year and not all income has been realized. We should have a positive balance by the end of 2020 and again in 2021.
Thank you, Janet. The recording secretary will read the report of the executive committee.
The Executive Committee met August 27th via Zoom for the purpose of receiving reports and conducting the business of the Society.
The recording secretary will now read the recommendations from the executive committee.
Recommendation 1, that the decision to establish and appoint members to the Kansas Scholarship Special Committee be ratified. Explanation. This special committee's purpose is to propose a course of action for the KSDAR Special Scholarships, including the Genevieve Pendleton Memorial Endowment Scholarship, Elizabeth M. Kessler Scholarship, Gladys E. Ralph Memorial Scholarship, and Kansas DAR Scholarship. The authority can be found in KSDAR bylaws, Article 7, Duties of Officers, Section 2, State Regent, and Article 11, Committees, Section 10, Other Committees. Members of the committee and additional information will be provided in the September issue of the Cyber Sunflower. Recommendation 2, that the decision to establish and appoint members to the Kansas 125th Anniversary Special Committee be ratified. Explanation. This special committee's purpose is to facilitate statewide plans to observe and commemorate the 125th anniversary of the Kansas Society Daughters of the American Revolution. The authority can be found in KSDAR bylaws, Article 7, Duties of Officers, Section 2, State Regent, and Article 11, Committees, Section 10, Other Committees. Members of the committee and additional information will be provided in the September issue of the Cyber Sunflower. Recommendation 3, that the proposed 2020 and 2021 budgets be adopted. Explanation. Per Article 11, Committees, Section 5, Finance Committee, the budget for the year shall be presented at the Board of Management meeting preceding state conference. In the absence of meeting in person, the budgets for both 2020 and 2021 have been presented for consideration. Recommendation 4, that the 2021 KSDAR scholarship be funded at $1,500 and the 2021 KSDAR Good Citizen Scholarship be funded at $750 per student for a total of $1,500, each to be paid from the designated fund. Explanation. Amounts as recommended by the Finance Committee and as noted in Special Scholarship Section numbers 4 and 5. Changes to the DAR Good Citizen Scholarship at the national level now allow for each state to recognize one male and one female award recipient. As authorized by Standing Rule 6, the 2020 Judd Smith Brooks Scholarship will be funded at $1,000.
This concludes the reports and recommendations that were presented to the State Board of Management at this virtual state September meeting. I hope you will take part of the many workshops and presentations over the next 3 days. Enjoy this virtual experience, and until we have the opportunity to be together in person, stay well and healthy.